Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 298 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Gonna hack on some Firefox stuff. I thought I'd do, a quick code review, and then we're gonna keep working on that thing we were working on last week, where we were trying to move the Windows jump list implementation off of the, fully off of the main thread. So that's what we're looking at today. Let's get started. I'll start by sharing my screen as per normal and going through the traditional preamble. So it's August 24th, 2022, episode 298, only 2 episodes away from episode 300. I think that deserves an air horn. Brace yourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Hi-oh!
That's right.
Watch you spill your beans.
Yeah, really excited for episode 300. It's going to be, I don't know if I've talked much about what it is that I'm going to be doing. I'm weighing a couple of things, and, I've done the spicy thing in the past. I think around episode 250, I did something with, an old computer game I'd made, and I, brushed it off. Who knows? Who knows what I'll come up with? But I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure we'll think of something. So a reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I don't know how this episode's going to go. I don't know how things are going to proceed today. I might get stuck, sidelined. Who knows? That's all the name of the game. None of this episode's really pre-planned. But hopefully we get through it. And the second thing is that you should be aware that there is an agenda. This is what we're looking at right now. It's got all these handy links, stuff you might want to follow. The agenda, if you're in YouTube, it's in the video description down below. If you're an Airmozilla, it's in the... oh no. Hang on. Good. It didn't play the audio. It's in the... Airmozilla, it's in the video details. If you're on Diode, it's in the video description down below. And if you're watching this on Twitch, I'm going to drop it in the Twitch chat right now. There you go. There's the agenda. Follow along. And there is an episode guide. If you're watching this in the future and want to know what ultimately happened here, or maybe you're watching this in the past. Nope, that's not possible. But you want to watch a past episode, then, if you want to leaf through and see what went on and look at old agendas and stuff, you can read the episode guide. And if you want to... I see that they're from Crushed Optimist. Nightly now is a separate Windows taskbar icon for private browsing windows related recent bug 1785814. We'll take a look at that in a second. If you want to contribute to the episode guide, maybe you have your own notes, addenda, corrections, you want to expand on something, send a pull request to the repository. I'm happy to check it out and add it to the episode guide. It's for you, dear viewers. Let me just check out this bug that you're linking to. What is this bug? I'm doing it off screen to start with, mainly because I don't want to accidentally pull up a security bug whenever I'm live streaming. Okay, so the OS environment is taskbar pin private scaler set to false, even if the pin private window shortcut is pinned to the taskbar. Yeah, I don't know what all of this stuff is. But it seems like there is an effort going on to make it possible to, we're changing some of our pinning behavior. But according to Crushed Optimist, Nightly now is a separate Windows taskbar icon for private browsing windows. That's good. That's a good thing. And maybe, down the road we can take advantage of that. We can take advantage of that whenever we want, if we were to have, different items in the taskbar on Windows for different profiles. But before I go into that, I want to review a patch. So this patch dropped into my review queue just this morning. It's for bug 1786055. Let's take a look at the bug. I haven't looked at this patch at all, but I have read the title, which is we're going to drop some stuff from this XHTML file. And looking at this bug, it's actually about migrating us to Fluent. So if you're not already familiar with Fluent, Fluent is a mechanism for making Firefox and other projects. You can use it in your own projects. It's for string translation. And we've been slowly but surely making Firefox run with Fluent strings only. This is the burn down chart from the beginning of the project in 2018 to now. This giant section at the top here, this is the number of Fluent strings that we have in Mozilla Central. And we now have I'd say over 55%. Yeah, over half are Fluent strings. That's good. We still have to burn down the rest. This chunk at the bottom are for DTDs. DTDs are like a very old way of doing string interpolation inside of our XHTML files. We're getting off of that, and that allows us to move entirely off of XHTML to HTML documents. That's good. And then this blue section is for like dynamic string manipulation in .properties files, and those are done with JavaScript. And there's an effort to do a lot of this conversion using like automated, like basically run a script to migrate everything over to using Fluent. So we're looking to burn this down pretty rapidly soon. So that's I've got high hopes that either this year or maybe next year we'll be basically done this transition. That's my hope. Anyways, this is part of that effort. We're migrating the edit menu overlay DTD to Fluent. And so let's read this bug. So Emily Aro, aka Emily, wrote, "The edit menu overlay DTD file is one of the few remaining DTD files used for localization and should be migrated to Fluent. Its strings are used in a few different places." And they say that the DTD defines a few keyboard shortcuts for find and find again commands. One of the two places where they're used is edit menu keys, which itself is used from the sidebar places in the content area downloads view. But I don't think those key definitions actually do anything. At least on macOS, I can't find anything working differently if I just remove those lines, which were last touched in 2003. 2003. I don't know if this Zoom's going to work. 2003. 2003. It's old. Yikes. So no relevant try auto tests appear to break. And then I had a conversation with Emily over Matrix saying that maybe Neil has some context here. And Neil responded saying it doesn't look like they're used at all. So I think we can remove them, which is great. And so patches got written, it looks like. And the one set of patches I was set as a reviewer on, but it looks like the fact that I am one of several reviewers and one other reviewer already gave the thumbs up means I don't have to review it. But let's take a look at it anyways. Let's take a look at the whole stack. This first one is migrate the style editor to Fluent. Yeah, and this is a DevTools thing, so I'm happy that if not defined Moz. Oh man, that's old school. We definitely don't. Do we still Moz Fennec? Yeah, we definitely. Oh, interesting. If we're building mobile / Android, we still call it Moz_Fennec. That's like an old artifact. We definitely shouldn't call it that anymore. It should be like Moz Phoenix or whatever. But it looks like if we weren't, if we're not on mobile, then we'll package this thing. And now we're just removing it entirely, so we don't need it anymore. So edit menu overlay defined these shortcut keys. And so instead now, it looks like we're gonna use Fluent. Find again, F, find command, key, access key, find access key, F, find again, G. Yeah, that looks all, that's all good. And then I don't know what all this business was. Find again, command, key 2. Find again 2. This is in edit menu keys, but this is the thing that's being removed later on. So all of these things, these definitions, are for ultimately this include file, which doesn't actually use them. So find command.key was using, these entities, but then apparently these keys weren't doing anything. Let's verify this. Let's verify this. I trust the patch submitter, but let's verify this. Trust but verify. So edit menu keys inc.xhtml. Yeah, where is that imported? Whoops. The content area downloads view, I know what that is. The history sidebar, I also know what that is. And the library window. And the way these work is, so if I open up like the library, then it says if, well, first of all, let's double check and make sure that this item is existing in the places window DOM. Make sure we've got our, we've got our assumptions correct here. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting. I seem to recall, where is that in the DOM? Is that not working where it jumps me to where it is in the DOM? It doesn't appear to be working. Key set. Key find. What's your parent node? Parent element. Main key set. Main key set. Where is that? Right here. So key find. And interestingly, where we have all these things, key find. And so if I hit Command F, presumably I'm going to fire this command, which is organizer command find all, which calls into places search box find all. So let's set a breakpoint. Places search box. Where is places search box defined? In places.js. Find all. Okay. So if I hit Command F, interestingly, I don't enter here. Like I didn't hit the breakpoint. I just jumped here. So what's going on? Do I have the keys correct here? Accelerator, which is aka, what's Excel again? Modifiers Excel. Maybe that's, oh man, key, Zool key modifier Excel. Which one is that? Keyboard shortcuts. Modifier returns to a platform. Here are some examples. What is Excel? What is the accelerator key? Windows uses the control key, Macintosh uses the command key. It would be inconvenient. The modifier refers to the, so it's the command key. Command F. Command Shift F? No, that doesn't hit my breakpoint. So, like, even though we have this thing, like, why is this being focused? Like, what is causing it to be focused? I actually want to understand that. So in order to understand this, I'm going to set a breakpoint here. I'm going to break on, well, I'll add a breakpoint like this. Add event listener focus e debugger. Okay. So hit a breakpoint. And so we did hit here on line 926. It's just that my breakpoint there wasn't working. That's bizarre. Okay. So let's let's now try something. I'm going to shut down. Let's apply the patches and see if we can still focus the find bar. That's because that it almost seems as if we need that in order to focus the find bar in places. And if that's not the case, then what's going wrong? What is going on? I just want all of this is the point of this is to try and understand the patch that I'm being asked to review and understand the consequences of it. Let me pump up the font a little bit. I want the full context. So my theory, my hypothesis, is that Command F will now no longer focus the search input inside of the Places window. It does, though. So what happened? Why is it now working? Let's see if we can find out. So let's open up the debugger again. Let's go to the Places window. Let's get the key find. So key find still exists. Key find organizer. Is this a different node? Because I thought we removed it. Organizer command find all. Places key find all. Find menu item. Get element by ID. Key find. So somehow it finds it still and then sets the attribute on it. How is that happening? Did I fail to properly apply this patch or update to the... Like, this should be gone. Key find should be gone. Did I need to build again? Did I fail to build? Let's just try that again. Okay, now Command F doesn't work. So this is actually a problem. So removing this actually does, like, we do need this. I can't actually, oh, hang on. No, I'm wrong. It's just there was like a Mac OS focus issue bug there, but this still seems to work. What is going on? Let's go back to Places. And it still finds key find under main key set. So I'm very confused. Let's see if we can fully understand. Maybe there's some, where could it be coming from? Maybe there are multiple key finds. Is that possible? ID equals key find. Yes. Yes, and I think that might be what we're running into. I think this is the one that is being used from browser sets. And is browser sets being used by Places? What main key set Places commands, places.js. Places.js is imported by places.html. Places commands. I just want to see if I can understand where this stuff's coming from. So String bundle set, places string set comes when? ID string bundle set. Where's places string set? Element by ID. It exists. Where are you in the DOM? All right, let's places string set. Do that. There you are. Okay. So places string set, and then a bunch of this stuff, and then eventually scripts, like all downloads view, which is down here, and our main key set, which has our mysterious find, is brought in between those two things. So it was one of these two, either Mac window, yes, and Mac window brings in browser sets, and browser sets has our command. So the reason we can get away with removing these is because there was already like we're in this really weird position where like you have the same ID applied to two different elements. We had some collisions going on here, and these were old. I guess they were being overridden and shadowed, so we can, in theory, remove the old things. I think that's the case. Now that's true for, places. What happens whenever you do find again inside of the places database or inside of the places window? Does it have a command called find again? Yes, but it's disabled. And what about find previous? All right. What happens if I'm just curious, what happens if I fire that command? Do command. Can't access get find bar. G browser's undefined. So like some of these are being used inside of the places window, but like they're not wired up to anything sensible. So what was the old key? Like there might actually be an existing bug here where we would like fire an exception in the console. Let's see if that's true. So let's go back to central. Build and run. And meanwhile, if we hit the keyboard shortcut of, what was it? Command. Sorry, I'm a bit scattered. It's not there. It's over here. Command. Whatever it was previous. So find again command key, but if you use shift, and what is that key? Oh, it was deleted. G. So command shift G. Command shift G is find again. Now if I open places and the debugger, got my window here, command shift G. Yeah, we were throwing an exception before. And what about VK F3? If I hit F3, what happens? F3. Do I have to do anything special with F3? Find again command key 2 using shift F3 here, shift F3. Yeah, throw an exception again. So these were never adding anything of value, is what I'm starting to come to the conclusion of. At least in the places window. What about the history sidebar? We had this the same thing exist in the history sidebar. I think we can put the places window away. Let's open up the history sidebar. History. I'm trying to remember how to do this. History sidebars. Oh, view sidebar. History. There it is. Now, Command F doesn't actually, like, it doesn't send us to the search history input. I don't know if it's supposed to. Instead, it goes here to the current browser's find input. Instead, you can like keyboard focus here. So it looks like it was never working. And then like F3, Shift F3, like all those are going to the find bar down here. So I don't think these were adding any value to the history sidebar. So I think that removal makes sense. Bookmarks sidebar. Yeah, same thing. It's all being targeted at the browser. And I think that might be for the best. Like I think these removals are pretty justified. And then content area downloads view. That's effective. That's this downloads, about downloads. Now there are no current downloads. But even if there were, there's like a built-in find for it. So let's create a simple download. I'll go to test download file. Yeah, think broadband. Let's download a small file. Go away. Go away. Decline. Okay, small file. All right. Potential security risk. All right. At the very least, it shows up in here. And then if I hit Command F, it looks like we were never making this sort of like searchable anyways. Because like there's no search input. That's the other thing. Now I've got, I don't have the patches applied. Let's look at the behavior with the patches applied. Oh, I said fasty instead of faster. So I have a feeling it's going to be like, I don't know what you mean, mock build fasty. Yeah, faster. All right, let's run. I think our download probably got removed. Yeah, so test downloads. Or even better, let's just like download some file somewhere. Test my download. Download test files. Small file. Nope. I guess the IPv6 link isn't working there. Potential security risk. All right, and then Command F. Okay. So it's not great that this isn't findable anyways, but like this is not the primary interface for looking at downloads. About downloads is like this old utility. If you're searching your downloads, what you should probably be doing is using this. And then like this search input will find it. You should be using the library. About : downloads isn't the right place. Okay. So I'm convinced at this point that these commands were not adding anything of value and that it is okay to remove them. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm going to go ahead and approve these changes. I did a bit of poking. And it looks indeed like these aren't actually useful in any of the areas where they were defined. If anything, they introduced console errors when attempting to fire commands that weren't compatible with their contexts. Example, in the Places window on Mac OS, hitting Shift F3 will cause a console error because it's trying to use a command that's only that's designed for windows that define G-browser. So I think this is good to go. Thanks. There we go. Submit. All right. Feeling good about that. So let's go back to what we were working on last week, which was to make the Windows jump list stuff happen off of the main thread. We had just made, if I recall correctly, I think we had gotten to the point where available, we had made available work off of the main thread. Do is available. And I did it with a runnable function, or a runnable that's using the same IO thread, and then whenever it is done, it tells the main thread to resolve the promise. So that's good. And I believe we tested that manually last week. Let's move to the next one, which was abort list build should also return a promise. Maybe let's do a couple at the same time. Set app user model ID and abort list build. Let's try and do a twofer. Abort list build. Abort. And it's going to return a promise. Whoops. Who was that guy? I just saw like a weird guy show up here. I don't know what that was. How do I get that guy back? I think it was some kind of like Windows ad. Oh, there it is. It's Duke Kahanamoku's birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Duke. I don't know who you are. And it's interesting. I only get that if I click on the magnifying glass, or maybe every couple of clicks it'll show up. Why didn't it show up always? Yeah, it's like if I click start and then click on the search, it shows up. Otherwise, if I just click on the search, it doesn't show up. What the heck? Good job. All right. Abort list build. Let's make that return a promise. Abort list build. Now, what's interesting is abort list build is called from both XPCOM, but also it looks like it can be called off of the main thread. Like, wait, delete active list. Delete active list returns a Boolean. And do init list build. This is running on a background thread. So that's interesting. You almost want this to call the off main thread, like the do method, which is to, what happens here? You just call abort list and do these things. Okay. And this is also on the main thread. And it calls abort list build, which also takes that lock. And like, what exactly does abort list build do that's so interesting? It takes a lock, and if the jump list manager exists, it gets a reference to custom destination list, and then calls abort list on it, and then clears this static, or it sets this static boolean. Oof. Which is an atomic that seems to be shared between threads. What a mess. So that's kind of a pain, because if I'm going to make this work off of the main thread, abort list build, I need to make it possible for the off main thread stuff to also be called from off of the main thread. And we want one variation to resolve a promise, and we want the other to not really. Like, look at what's happening here in abort list build, where like the return values are being ignored here and here. Really, what you want to do is, if the promise is rejected, then you want to reject this promise, you'd think. Or maybe not. Like, what? If you don't have access to the jump list manager, I guess we are still checking. So maybe we can make it so that aborting the actual do abort list build is, it can take the promise argument, but it's optional. Can we do that? Is available, return at and pointer. So we can make it so that if this is null, we don't actually, like when we pass the runnable, do available, do is available, passing promise, which is going to be null. Okay, I think that is, it's not amazing, but I think it will get us what we want. Okay, so what we want to do first is, there's a JS context being passed as arguments to this method now, and there's also going to be, oh yeah, and at promise. So at a promise can be null in this case. So that's important to know. Yeah, this is going to be the signature. Abort list build. This is going to be the signature. And then what we really want to do, instead of taking a lock, don't want to do that anymore. Is we want where is that thing that we had written last week? Because it's pretty, oh, is available. We call it is available. Should have been get available. Because, like, do is available, do is available. Do get available. This should be do is available resolve. Is available. Okay. That's why I was confused. Is available. We want to use the same structure effectively. Abort list build. Don't need a lock because we're doing this off the main thread, buckos. Yeah, we get those things. We create the promise. We're gonna create a runnable, and it's from abort list build, and we're gonna say do abort list build, and then dispatch it on the IO thread, and then void jump list builder, do abort list build, and that's going to take a ref pointer promise. A promise, I think that's the format. I think that's the signature. And then we do have to take the lock. Do is available. And then this is how you resolve it. Now, here's where we do our special thinger, which is that if the promise, if a promise, and we should document this, then we're gonna resolve that promise. Whoops, how do I want to just indent. What's the, there we go. Do abort list build. And we're gonna just resolve without anything. We're just gonna resolve. No argument. There's no value coming out of it. It's just that we're resolving it. And anywhere where we've been calling abort list build, well, first of all, the other thing I want to do is, like, I want to assert which thread I'm on, that we're not on the main thread. And here we do want to assert we are on the main thread. This is going to become more and more important to, like, make sure that we're on the thread that we care about, that we expect to be on. And then all the other callers of abort list build, we're going to say do abort list build. Oh, wait, no, because this is going to be on the main thread. So this one's different. Abort list build. This one, which is off of the main thread, we can do abort list build. And we can actually put that assertion there. And then this other call in delete active list. We actually don't want to resolve. We want to. I think we just want to throw away the promise. So we might actually have to do delete active list next. Delete active list. Where instead of returning I guess we were returning a success or failure with a boolean. It's going to be once again like a JS context and a promise. I'm also realizing I need to put in the header our do abort list build method that we just added. Okay. Abort list build from delete active list. So we have our promise. We're not going to be doing anything with the return value there. So what we're, oh yeah, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. We're going to do the exact same thing we were doing with abort list, which is construct this thing. And then we're saying, hey, do delete active list. And then in delete active list, oh, I see there's like internal down here. That's where I should probably move all my do's. Void jump list builder, do delete active list. Context. No, it's going to get a ref pointer, promise, a promise. Here's what we should do. Take our lock. We should assert that we are not on the main thread. Okra says, is there S building list equals true anywhere? Great question. Yes, I think so. Let's take a look. This is not on the main thread. So S building list, which is some kind of like state value, which may or may not still matter as a thing. Like once we have S is building list is true here. Building list is false. Like, I think the S building list might no longer be necessary if all of the work is happening on the same thread. Because it seems to be using it as like a sort of a coordination atomic Boolean between threads, like a synchronization thing. And we can probably get rid of it at some point. So do delete active list. We do this, and then we're going to say, hey, do abort list build. And I'm not going to pass you a promise. And then here's where we dispatch our result runnable back to the main thread. If this doesn't exist, then we're gonna, instead of returning error unexpected, we're gonna return false, maybe reject. You know what, I don't want to keep repeating that. So here's what I'm going to do instead. Make scope exit. This is a classic. Do abort list build. So what we'll do is we'll say, hey, here's an error handler on scope exit. What's succeeded? Error handler. Make scope exit. And we pass. What is HR? Make scope exit. I need to remember what that means. Make scope exit. Oh, I just got a delivery, everybody. Bum, bum, bum. Smells like tea. Thank you very much, anonymous delivery person. Amazing. What is the second argument to make scope exit? Scope exit. Make scope exit. Right hand side. Is it right hand side? Scope exit. Make scope exit. Move function. It's just like this function. Standards track version of this. If SF true, SF return true, fail. Scope exit is mechanism supply of inspired human RAI guard. So if not, so the above would become if not set up, return false. Tear down, tear down. Otherwise release, release, and return true. The header provides scope exit container for cleanup call, automatically call the end of scope. Constructing a scope exit with a given cleanup routine commonly used with a lambda function. Okay. So maybe make scope exit isn't the right move. Where am I? Oh, it's the handle. The handle. I see. And so whatever value that is, oh, I see. That's how that's working. So I guess we can do it like this, like ns result rv, and we can pass that in if ns succeeded rv, return. That shouldn't be possible, but okay. So what we'll do is we'll say do resolve. Hang on. New runnable. What is the convention? Do is available, resolved. Init list build reject. Init list build resolve. Do abort list build resolve. Do abort list build reject. And we're gonna move. We're also gonna capture the RV. Promise reject RV. Clang format, something, something. Okay. Actually, like that. I don't know how Clang's going to want to format that. Something along those lines. And then we can say, hey, all right, let's get our lockup here, actually. That's one of the first things we do. Have an RV, and then we're going to say, if not jump list manager, then RV equals ns error not available. Return. If not that, then RV equals ns error unexpected. Return. And then if promise, we need to like release the guard. Error handler release. That's how that works. Yeah. Looks like they haven't been doing that in other places. But if we release it there, I actually don't think ns result rv as error handler.release, and then if there's a promise, then we resolve it. Okay. Now the thing that calls do abort list build, like this stuff can kind of like do some of the same business, where we kind of want an RV do delete active list. I should probably try and compile in a second. And then the promise will, if there's a promise. Do we know that there's a promise here? Yes, there will be. It's the other one that might not have it. It's do abort that might not have it. And so we need to factor that in. If promise, maybe reject. Okay. Not my prettiest code. Okay, do abort list build. We were just working there on that. So we've got our rejection occurring, and then the caller, which is in do delete active list, will also, this one will have a promise, so that one we don't have to do so many checks for. If we want to do the same thing we were doing before, where rv equals ns error not available, and then returning, and then rv equals that, and then returning, and then if we were able to delete, if we were able to succeed, what is the original? Sure, if the operation completed successfully, well, I'm gonna have to update this documentation, but like, otherwise, we're gonna resolve with false. If succeeded, reject. Okay. Bool succeeded equals false. We're going to say succeeded equals true. And then down here we're going to release our guard. And this is when we will dispatch our runnable to the main thread. And say, hey, Resolve. Seated. What does this do? Delete active list. Do delete active list. Now I am expecting a number of compilation errors here. Let's see what we get. Let's see if we can suss those out. One of the unfortunate things is that I don't think we've got a great testing, like automated testing story for these things. Because it's like UI, like OS integration. The alert service. So this is all going to have to be like manual testing, I think, which is a pain. Check this out. I've got like Coke and caffeinated tea at the same time. Okris asks, error handler release is not needed? Let's see. Did I miss one? You mean this one? Undo delete active list? Or is there one that I missed? Oh. Didn't notice it, says Okris. Okay. No problem. Whoa, I don't want to do an artifact build. Nope. I want to be doing a full-blown binary build. This is not going to work with an artifact build, so go ahead and stop. Stop. Oh, it's not doing an artifact build. It looks like it was going to get things. I don't know what it was getting. Executing node. What are you noding about? DevTools stuff. There's no way. There is no way. What? Yeah, that's an artifact build. No wonder it succeeded. I'm like, there's no way. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I'm hoping to hit the errors relatively quickly. Yeah, it's rebuilding widget. One thing we can't forget, and I should put it in my list of things to do here. Oh yeah, I've got it. Update all the callers. Yep. That's important. So we have upgraded this thing to this. We've done both of these now. We need to do these. And then we're going to update the callers, all the callers. Okay, we've hit our errors. What kind of errors are we hitting here? Unknown type in the header. Jump list builder. Oh, it wants the fully qualified name. Okay. What else? Too few arguments to the function call to do abort list build. I see. Yeah, that's true. Do abort list build is expecting the ref pointer thing. So where are all the places that I call it? Can I just pass null pointer? Null pointer? What might be better, actually, instead of just having like a maybe, like a pointer, this do abort list build thing that has maybe this ref pointer, is to use a maybe. That might be smarter. No member name do delete active list. Right, I need to add that as well. To the header. All right. I'm pretty sure you may have seen me do this before, where you can use the maybe construct, so that instead of passing like maybe a pointer, otherwise not, you pass what's called a maybe, which wraps. Like, instead of it being this sort of explosive thing that, you know, if you do it wrong, you dereference a null pointer and crash. A maybe is something that either wraps a value or is nothing. It's either something or nothing, and I think I used it in the page icon protocol handler, maybe, or was it called result? Did I use result? Return OK. Maybe what I want is maybe, I think. Nothing. Yeah, is nothing. Do something, you pass it something or nothing. This also failed. What went wrong? No matching member function to call to maybe resolve. Maybe resolve. Whoops, I'm in the wrong file. Maybe resolve. Do we always pass? Do I have to resolve with something? Can I say maybe resolve with undefined is what I want. Yeah, maybe resolve with undefined. That's in do abort list build. Because I don't think we were ever... Yeah, it just aborts it and clears it. Okay. We might actually get to the linking stage here. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean it's not going to completely crash on us whenever we run it. And certainly, like, all of the call points are going to break. But we are linking. That's good. So no obvious build problems. But this is going to... I'm going to want to think about this, like, null pointer thing. I'd rather use a maybe. And I'd rather do it now before I forget. So the way you use a maybe, and I think I can pass a maybe through a lambda like I do a promise to a different thread. You can do like store copy pass by ref, net runnable method, store copy pass by write ref. Can I pass a maybe? Or can I do new runnable method? Yeah, you can pass a maybe. There, that's probably what I want. Okay. So that actually built. Incredible, but not good enough. Where's the thing where it's like, hey, this thing might... Yeah, I don't want this to be a ref pointer promise. I want it to be a maybe promise. Store copy pass by, and I don't even know what this thing is. What is store copy pass by write ref? What is this thing? From thread utils. Variadic. Storage and passing argument type decorators. I think I'm just gonna say, hey, maybe. An updater thread, you pass it. Runnable method on a maybe. Zoom constraints. Yeah, I'm gonna pass a maybe. A ref pointer promise. Copy pass. And then what did update Zoom constraints? I see it will call it on its own thread. Then you pass constraints. It's just a const maybe. Okay. Okay. And then what you do with a maybe is if the maybe is something. Yeah, okay. You call .ref on it. Constraints .ref. Yeah, okay. If promise dot ref maybe reject. If promise dot ref otherwise, and then what we're going to do is we're going to update the signature here, do abort list build to take a maybe, and maybes are defined inside of maybe. I don't know where I want to include maybe here. I don't know if it's going to be happy to just I think I'm gonna have to include maybe over here. Looks like there's been some effort to put this in alphabetical order. Okay, maybe. So maybe this, and then whenever we call do abort list build in those other contexts, you pass nothing. I think it's like this, nothing. Yeah, you pass just nothing instead of the null pointer. And like that, no more null pointer. pointer exceptions. I think that's the theory. A question from Loopy750. Hey, is it possible to compile Firefox release version instead of nightly? Yes. I think there is documentation on Firefox source docs. Build release. Configuring build options, release promotions. Enable release. And then like branding. Like I think what you want to do is you want to like use the hg.mozilla.org projects or releases rather. And then there's like a Mozilla release repository. This is the repository you want to use. And then what are the build instructions? Mozilla Firefox release build with branding. Building Firefox window, build Linux. Branding. There's like style builder, Chrome building. I think there's like an argument to the configuration that's like use official branding. Localized builds. Mozilla's official builds use Moz config files. It's recommended to use the default build options. Yeah, production builds aren't really appropriate for local builds. I concur. Like, I don't know if you'd want to... Yes, it is possible, but you probably don't want to. Like, you probably don't want to use the branding. What if you want the code, but it looks like kind of got the nightly icon? You're going to want to clone the Mozilla release repository and then use mock build there. And that will give you effectively the release version of Firefox. It's just not going to have the official branding. Okay, so what else failed here? It doesn't like some of my maybe business. Let's see if we can figure out why. Woo, big ol' error. Okay, so union member val has reference type, so maybe storage base, promise to non-customers. So Microsoft extension, that's a warning. Instantiation, no. Error, adder declared as a pointer to a reference of type ref pointer dom promise on maybe storage base. So it doesn't like the fact that I used there's a pointer to a reference of type. Pointer declared as a pointer to a reference. I see. That's fair. Can I do like what's the right way to do this? Maybe promise. Maybe Moz promise holder. Oh, and I also want to, it's not just that I want to call it with, maybe I want to say some promise. That's what you want to pass there. I don't know if that's going to make much better. And it doesn't like nothing. Class maybe constant. Okay, constructor. There's a lot of issues here. Unknown type name. Did you mean promise on 517? No, I meant this. Let's see what error's out now. Yeah, Denshub is correct. You can't even build the real release version as you'll be missing some API keys for services. Correct. Correct. Okay, more problems. More problems. So this first thing is a warning, and it doesn't seem super related to... Okay. Enough. This first warning... No, this does seem related. Just a Microsoft extension. Union member val has reference type such and such. Instantiation of member and a maybe. Maybe storage base. Warning. Okay. Address is declared as a pointer to a reference when we're instantiating the template class. So why don't you like that? Like, I'm gonna call something with nothing. Set wireframe, for example. Or this is generated code. Maybe callback pass nothing. Render texture. Okay, what does ensure render texture take? Maybe external image ID, which is a maybe. It's a type def of maybe external image ID. And then there's an I see. So did I do this wrong? Where do report list build. Should be like that. Yeah, C++. Hilarious. It's hilarious stuff. Okay. More errors. Is it the same error? Non-const L value reference. Stop it. Taking focus. On line 247, non-const L value reference to type. Cannot bind to a temporary of type. Const L value reference. Oh. Is it supposed to be taking a const? Is that expected? Yeah. Const. Excuse me. Maybe our value doesn't look correct. Maybe. Oh, all right. Yeah, okay. I think that's what you're talking about. I think that's what you're talking about. My C++ is not incredible. And certainly whenever it comes to things like more modern usages of like, is this what, a monad? Is that what they call these things? It might be called a monad. Yeah, my usage, like, I'd say I'm far more used to JavaScript. Let's see what it thinks of that. You can't just store R values in structs. Sounds like a good point. Sounds like a plausible theory, Ocris. Instantiation of runnable method, chunkless builder. Here in new runnable method, chunkless builder 471. Oh, pass by write reference. So maybe I don't actually know what this does. Full disclosure. I mean, write reference. L reference. Store ref pass by L reference. What happens if I say pass by L reference? What happens then? Let's just monkey around. Anyway, good luck, lol, says Ocris. Yeah, I might need some help. I might need some help from people who know these primitives better than I do. Moving stuff off the main thread. Hilarious. Let's see what happens. Let's just poke and see what happens if I just get rid of this thing. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So that is just, we're passing this maybe ref pointer. How's it like that? And I think I actually have to go in a couple of minutes, because I have a meeting. This is getting a lot further than normally. It's actually linking. That's incredible. I can't believe it. But seems good. We're going to want to definitely have someone who knows this stuff better than I do review it. Make sure I did my job right. But it's compiling. That's fun. And we got rid of that null pointer, which is really nice. Like, we get this maybe. And only if, you know, only if there's, like, a promise. And then we can pass, like, nothing. We don't accidentally dereference a null pointer. Okay, that built. Hilarious. So where'd we get to? Abort list build, delete active list. Let's just see what happens if I call those. Let's see if it crashes, and then I'm gonna end the stream here. It might be slightly unoptimized. I guess our value just prevented ref pointer to increase and decrease the reference count. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, we're doing a different optimization here, gang. And I'm trying to remember what I used to do to test this. It was like I wanted to get at the builder. New builder. Builder is taskbar service. Yeah, taskbar service. So we're gonna create a service. We're gonna get this service and assign one taskbar. Okay. Let t equals cc that thing. Get service and assign win taskbar. T dot and then the T dot. That's what they call Toronto for people who are cool, apparently. Create jump list builder. False. So let's create a jump list builder. Let B equals T, create jump list builder. False. B. What happens if I say like abort list build? Null. That's supposed to return a promise, is it not? Abort list build. What happened to x dot init list build? Or b dot init list build? That returns a promise. B dot abort list build. That returns nothing. Did I fail to return the promise? Abort list build. Oh, yes, I did. I did. There's a thing, do init list build, where you actually return the promise. Abort list build. Right down here. Let's close that. Build. Yeah, R values and L values, what it makes me think of are moves and move semantics, which, full disclosure, not comfortable with. Like, I understand the concept of moving a thing into a different function's sort of responsibility zone as opposed to copying it. That makes sense. But C++ move semantics, I've read the documentation on C++ move semantics multiple times and have gotten nowhere in terms of like trying to understand it. And we've got like standard move, and I get that it's moving a thing from one like zone of responsibility to another zone of responsibility, but I don't know what the rules are. So just so you know. Let's run all those instructions again. B, create jump. Okay, so abort list build. Should return a promise. Can I await that promise? Yeah, and it's undefined. So now that thing is off of the main thread. So like, let x equal, and x is undefined. It completes the aborting of the list. The list build happens off of the main thread. Now, what was the other thing that we wanted to do? Which was in here, it was delete active list. Let's try and do that off of the main thread, because I think we also did that, right? Like we ported that delete active list. It was like, yeah. Let's call that. Is that also returning b.delete active list? Huh, we're accidentally not returning the promise there. But like, look, it's everything's gone. That's good. But we obviously want to return the like we do here, we want to return the promise. So delete active list. We need to return the promise here. Okay, I'm gonna commit. What do I have as like my current commit on top? Make the available method return the promise. Make a bunch of other methods return promises. I'm gonna clean all this up and fold it all together once I have a better story. But for now, I've committed that. Booyah. So TLDR, when you run this, you get all these things that show up in here, and then they all go away. I don't know why, but it's probably because Windows Jump List Builder needs to be updated to use those new promisey things, which I'll do at a later date. So I'm going to check these off, even though they've only gotten the barest amount of testing. We're going to do these ones next week, and then we're going to update all the callers, and then let's see if we can close this off by like removing the locks and then migrating. Instead of using a dedicated lazy thread, we'll try and move it over to the background thread pool. So we're, I'd say, about halfway through this. I apologize, it's been a little slow. I'm having to like learn a lot as I do this, but I think this is gonna be an interesting part because we're actually gonna clean up a bunch of stuff. Like all of these methods where we like have the method and then we have like a do method. I feel like a lot of this can be done inside of like lambdas within the caller or within the call site. That may or may not clean things up. I don't know if I'll do that, but it's something I'm considering. But at the very least, we can get off of this extra lazy thread that's been created called the IO thread and instead use the background thread pool, which is better for resources. All right, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for watching episode 298 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. Let me know what you thought. Click on this link, rate this episode, and you can tell me what you thought and what it is that you want to see me do in the future. I'm going to put a rate this episode link in the chat there. You can fill that out. There's a little reward at the end with a picture of me going like A at the end of the form. So it's a unique one every time. Collect them all. You can think of them as like little collector cards. You don't have to think of them that way. But there you go. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have yourselves a great week. I will see you next week. Have yourselves a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.